Hey crafty people, welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Welcome to my channel, and welcome to another What's on My Desk Wednesday. So if you missed the first video, the idea here is that I'm gonna spend about 45 minutes-ish crafting with what I have on my desk in an attempt to keep the leftover bits from projects over the course of the month from taking over my desk, which is what tends to happen. And what I pulled out this time is the leftover bits from the Archive 365 for February and January. I still have those bits out too. And what I want to do is create a couple masterboards using the pieces from those kits. And let's start with the February ones that I have sitting out right now. And I've got a couple pieces of coffee dyed paper. Those were coffee dyed with a placemat on top. Or actually, they were probably placed on top of ones that had a placemat placed on top, because I spray the placemat with coffee, so some of it goes into the paper underneath, and then I lay a piece on top, and I get an image on from doing that. But that being said, let's flip this over and start gluing on our leftover pieces. And I haven't decided yet if I'm just gonna glue them on or if I'm gonna tear into them or what, but I think we're just gonna get started and go to town creating a masterboard. So if you notice, I flipped my scissors. These are the Tim Holtz Tonic scissors, and there's a micro serration on one of the blades. So if you cut with the side without his logo towards the piece you're keeping, the micro serrations will be on the other piece, because it's really hard to see, but it's there. So I just tend to try and cut the piece I'm going to save so that I don't get those on it. Set those pieces to the side because those will come in after we do the base piece. Trying not to have everything line up completely in a straight line. there we go. There's one master board done. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this aside. I'm gonna off camera do the other one. Then we'll come back and we will cut them up and do a little bit of decorating. All right, so I got a second one done. So there are two, and you may notice a quality difference in the printing. I printed this on matte photo paper and this on the Hammermill premium color copy paper. I don't know what's going on, because it used to be that I didn't notice a big difference between printing on the premium color copy versus the matte photo paper. But it also could have been that I loaded the matte photo paper in wrong the time I did like a comparison test, because one side is the matte photo paper side and the other side's basically the same as the color copy paper. So that might be why when I first did a comparison I thought they were the same. So yeah, I'm kind of shifting over to doing matte photo paper because it does print better, at least when you put it in the printer the right way. All right, so this one we did this way, and this one I did this way, and we're going to cut it blind. So I am going to flip this over and just cut at 5.5 so that we get a surprise. And then I'm going to do 3.5, 3.5, and it should have been 3 and 3. Dagnabbit. Let's do this at 3, and then we'll have a 2-inch skinny tag, and then this is going this way. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do this at 4.25. Now this one, the orientation's going this way, so we'll cut it at 5.5. I think this one we're just gonna make 4 journaling cards. Actually, no, what we'll do is 4.25. 5.5, and then we'll cut it in half again. And this one we'll do 3, 6, well, 3 again, which gets us to 6, which then leaves us with 5. Yeah, let's do that. And now let's see what we got. So we've got journaling card, tag, tag. Actually, they go this way. Journaling card, tag, and tag. All right, let's see. Let's start with rounding corners. I think that this one's got multiple layers. That's why. All right, let's round the corners on this one. And then what I'll do is just take my scissors and use that as a guide to round that corner. And actually this one's the one that's 5. I think I'm gonna grab a 1.5 inch circle punch and cut a little notch in it. And this can be a pocket on a page. All right, these guys I want to round all of the bottom corners. And grab my tag template and cut the corners off. Now this is just an old gift card that I cut the corners off of to create a template for cutting tag corners, because then you just flip it over and your tag corners will be the same on both sides. All right, let's take a look at what we got and maybe do a little bit of decorating. I feel like this just needs like a label here and then a tag topper. I'm kind of toying with the idea of maybe doing some stacked pockets on one of them. All right, let's trim this out. We can do it on the side of that pocket. That's one option. We could do it on the side of this journaling card. Kind of wondering, this tag's kind of plain. Maybe we do it on there. I actually think I kind of like it on this one best. All right, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna just ink edges with aged mahogany distress oxide. If we are gonna use, say, these guys in the pocket, that can go in there. So we'll definitely put it, kind of want a little of that to show at the bottom though. So maybe we'll need to do some smaller things for the other pockets so that it doesn't stick out up above. All right, so if I want to put that guy there, I'm tempted to do this. That is not the right way. But actually, I think that might work pretty good. Okay, yeah. Now we can position it there and just glue it all down as one. And I think so that stuff can get tucked down further, I'm just gonna glue down the sides and not worry about, so like this pocket's open all the way to the bottom and that'll be open all the way to the bottom. Little scrap I have on my desk. Let's glue that on. All right, that guy I got that in. I think we're gonna need shorter stuff for the pockets. Right, let's there. How wide is it? I'm gonna grab my tag top punch, kind of center it. Go into that pocket, and I will want to add something. I just don't have anything handy right now, and since this is supposed to be a bonus video that is quick, I'm gonna leave that basically like that, and then that there to disguise the fact that it doesn't quite line up right on that side. Okay, so I've gone ahead and pulled some stuff out to speed the decorating process along, because otherwise we're going to be here forever. Now on this one, I've decided to turn it into a tag because I really like how it is on its own. So I just want to put a tag topper on it. Let's cut tag corners. I'm gonna grab some Victorian Velvet Oxide and ink our edges. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of ribbon and a little flower embellishment and call this one done. That is done. This one, I am going to add some lace to this, but I want to ink the edges first. And for this one, I'm going to use Distress Oxide Aged Mahogany. I'm going to let that dry a minute before we attach it, because I'm going to attach it on here as a belly band. And actually, let's ink the edges of everything else while we're waiting for that to dry. Attach this, and I think I'm going to be okay using art glitter glue. I'm going to put a little glue at the top and the bottom to make this into a belly band on our tag. And I'm going to put it right side up and not upside down. And we're just gonna, we are going to add more glue because that is not sticking. All right, maybe we do need to use the Fabri-Tac because of the lace. off to the side again and let it dry. And we can work on one of the other ones. All right, for this one, what I want to do is I'm gonna put the frame around the picture and then just glue it down completely on there as just a decorative piece. And then we're gonna put this guy with a little lace behind it on the corner there. On the lace and then trim the lace off. It may stay on. There may have been enough glue gluing the lace on to glue that on as well. All right, that one's done. This guy, ooh, I just pulled a bunch of pieces out to layer up. Done. This is another one I'm keeping fairly simple. I just have some dyed cheesecloth. I'm going to glue to the back of the circle and then glue the circle on. Probably trim some of that cheesecloth off, but put more glue on and glue it down and then trim it off so that we're not constantly sticking our fingers in the glue. One's done. All right, for this one, I think I was planning on doubling over the lace. I don't know, like I had the piece of lace out and I don't remember how I was planning to use the lace. What I want to do is, because they won't stand out very much against this background, I'm going to add this on, but I want to tear it. Grab tearing ruler. And rip piece off the top. And I'm trying to decide if I want to rip the sides. I don't think I do because they just fit. Like so. I could have cut more of that off, or ripped more of that off. Yes. Ink edges. one. This one should be dry enough that we can tuck our stuff into our belly band. There we go. This one, so there's a spot where I didn't line them up perfectly, so there's some white showing, so I just cut out this stuff. So we're gonna, from the kit, and I'm gonna just glue that on top to cover that up, and then we've got a little cluster. Done. Got this one, which I have to figure out how I had it because I don't remember. I like that. That one's done. For this one, all I want to do is add a little stamped label, and this is a leftover bit from cutting off the branding strips from a paper pad. So I'm gonna grab my mouse pad and a stamp from Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous, Eccentric CMS448. This I'm going to use a brown dauber and do the edges in brown. Oh, and I just smeared it. That's all right. I'm okay with that. And I'm just going to glue that on there. And then last but not least, I pulled this one. It's from a digital kit by the Paper Snippet Company, and I'm missing something that's supposed to go on here. Okay. And I just grabbed some tulle, and what I want to do is add the tulle to the poof. So I'm going to put a little glue in the center. Put it down, whoop, and then fold it over and over and over one more time to get it multi-layered. And then I'm gonna add some more glue, and I've got this little flower gem thing. I'm going to stick that down to hold it in place, and then we will trim the excess off. think that just adds a little bit more interest to our flower. And there's a couple spots that are still, there we go. I just wanted to cut open where I had folded it over. And so we're just going to add her on like so. All right, so there you go. Let's see what we managed to do. We did this little cutie, and we made this tag, and this journaling card, and this tag, and this tag, and this little skinny journaling card, and tag with the belly band, and this journaling card, and this journaling card, and a pocket, and another tag with pockets. All with what was left over on my desk from my from the January and February Archive 365 kits. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.